they're doing, and there's youth voice involved, so they have choices and options, and they get to think about what they're doing. And you have in your packet a definition of quality STEM, and that definition is something that the working group or the committee came up with based on this DOS tool. And the DOS tool is the evaluation tool. So it's not the same thing that you are taking home with you today. What you're taking home with you is the activity planning tool that stems from this evaluation tool. So we won't go into a lot of detail on the evaluation tool itself, but it's important to have a little bit of background and context so that you can understand why you have this activity tool. Okay? So when we talk about that Flubber activity, and what a lot of people wonder is, how do we tell? How do we know what we're seeing is high quality? So Harvard University has a center that's called PAIR for short. What it stands for is a Program in Education After School Resiliency. And they started thinking about some of these same questions. How do we know what high quality STEM looks like? And how do we measure that? How are we able to compare program to program or activity to activity? So they developed this Clover model, and it's not the same thing as the 4-H Clover, but what they said, in order to be able to support youth in their development, there are these 4 broad domains that we really need to include. One of those being assertiveness. So, do the students have a voice in what they're doing? Do they get choices about what they're doing, or are they simply told what to do in the activity? Active engagement means that they're able to interact with their surroundings. Belonging is the developing and connecting with others, relationships, and reflection. So do they get to make meaning from what they're doing? And I don't know how comfortable everybody in the audience is in doing STEM, but what we hear a lot in the out-of-school time space is, I'm not a STEM expert. I don't know how to do this. I'm just not confident to do STEM activities with kids. But when we look at that model, this is really not, doing STEM is really not a lot different from what we would want to get out of a youth serving program. So the dimensions of success tool, like I said, it was developed by PAIR. It measures overall STEM program or activity quality. And you can find out more information about the tool itself if you're curious on the DOS website. But it's used for management. So it's meant to be comprehensive, but not overwhelming. And it's a way to tell the story of your of the activities that you're facilitating. So to get a little bit more specific, because it is an observation tool, and you have a certified DOS observer at each of your tables, that means that it's a tool that you get to use as a lens to watch an activity as it plays out. So it's in real time. What is really exciting about the DOS tool is not so much the specific details about what the tool measures, but more that we now have a common language, a common way of talking about what high quality STEM looks like, and a common way of being able to compare that from activity to activity. Programs can make important decisions about the way that they'll move their program, how they'll work on improving quality, which curricula they want to choose. All of these decisions can be made based on the results of the evaluation. So I have to put this plug out there is that we're always looking for observers, and so if you would like to be a certified DOS observer, contact us, and we can give you more information. It does require a training process, but that really ensures that the tool will be used reliably. And so I won't go into a lot of information about the tool itself, but that gives us a little bit of background. So people said, okay, so you have this evaluation tool, and you can measure how an activity is played out, but how do I plan an activity in the first place? Right, that's the question. So how do I go about planning a quality activity? And that's where the DAWS planning tool comes into place, and that's the tool that you're walking away with today. So we're extremely excited that we have a tool that can help us plan activities, STEM activities, in a way that will result in quality activity. This is just our information on how to get a hold of us, how to find us. We have a Facebook page, and this is the Active Learning Community page, and this is the specific initiative that we're doing with the DAWS tool, Community Alliance. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. But the good thing is that's all I had to say.
All right. Okay. So now, Indira's giving you a little bit of background about the dimensions of success evaluation, but that's not what we're going to talk about now. Now we're going to move into the tool, the program planning tool. And I was thinking about how to describe this to you, and there's no way I could describe it any better than the DAWS people did themselves. They say that from all the research and years of work they've done on this, that while there are many great activities out there and several programs that have access to good materials and curriculum, we really believe that planning is the most important step to a good STEM activity. And I think all of you who have facilitated, there's no way we can't agree with that, right? Planning is everything. Having a sense of how you will use the materials with a particular group of students for a particular purpose with a particular goal in mind is critical. It's the backbone of all good STEM programming. Okay, so when Indira said that, you said this was an easy-to-use resource that's not overwhelming. It's definitely easy to use. Overwhelming? Okay, you have to bite it off in steps. Because if you go to, you have a handout on page 3, it talks about the 12 dimensions of success. It looks like this. And so you can see that the areas that we're going to look at, the 4 different areas, are features of the learning environment, activity engagement, STEM knowledge and practice, and youth development. Okay, let's go to the first one first. Features of the learning environment. Organization of the room. So you want to know, are your tables placed that everybody can see the speaker, hear the speaker? Does everybody have easy access to what they want to be doing with the activity? That's an easy one. We all understand that because we facilitate STEM with kids. Materials. Do we have the materials well organized? Are they all accessible? Did we remember everything? If Sherry would have forgotten the milk, whoa, her activity would have been down the drain, literally. So materials, are we really well prepared, and have we tested the materials? That's another big piece of STEM activities, right? And then space utilization. And some of the training videos that they showed us when we got certified, teachers were doing STEM activities in a gym while there's a basketball game going on. So utilizing that space maybe would be most conducive to your STEM activity. So that's really features of the learning environment. We're all used to that. That's not really new to us, right? So that's a big key of planning your STEM activity. The next one, activity engagement. We want to look at participation. Do all kids have equal access to participating in the activity? And all the rest of you who have gotten this DAWS training, if you want to throw something out, now's the time if I forget anything. Purposeful activities, and we talked about that right up front. As much fun as it is, and ours isn't, you guys have this water, I keep wanting to call it quality, but it's aquifer. You have the water aquifer activity. Ours is slime. Kids love making slime at the Children's Museum. We've done it for years. We thought it was just a rock star activity for kids, but was it purposeful? After I got trained in DAWS, I decided, yeah, I don't really know why we're doing this, but now it is. So you really need to self-evaluate and think about, do you have a learning goal in mind for the kids? And then are they really engaged with these STEM process skill sets? The next one, STEM knowledge and practice. We really want to look at content learning. Is the content very obvious to the kids? Are your learning goals really obvious to you as the facilitator? Are kids practicing inquiry skills? Are they really asking questions? Are they asking their own questions? Do you give them an opportunity to try to find the answers to those questions? And reflection. This is another one that the Children's Museum, again, in self-evaluating, this is something we never really even thought about. Did we give the kids time to reflect on what does this mean to them? How is this connected to the real world? How can this be connected? What prior experiences do they have that they can connect to this? And then the last area, youth development in STEM. and this should be pretty easy for everybody here, I would think. Relationships. Of course, we always want to be super nurturing and supportive to every child in the class. We've always got those kids who never follow directions, and they're looking out the windows, and they're talking to their neighbors. We don't want to segregate those kids, right? They need us more than anybody. So we want to find ways to build relationships with every student that's in the room. Relevance. What does it mean? If we're building water aquifers out of goody things to eat, or we're making slime, what does it mean? Who cares in the bigger scheme of life? Why should kids care about this? And there are certainly reasons if we can pull those out and put those into the activity. And then the youth voice. Sadly, I can say that even though I work at a children's museum, that should be really prominent at our facility. But the youth voice is giving kids the opportunity to speak for themselves. Maybe they do this activity that the hygienic lab did, and they're like, wow, if only we could try shredded wheat, I wonder what would happen. Or if only we could try something else, what? I don't know, Trix bars. What would happen? So as a facilitator, you need to be really prepared to give the kids, what if we poured orange juice instead of milk? Would that make a difference? What if you give the kids all these opportunities to follow their own questions, to follow their own path, to let them have a voice in developing the activity? What a difference it makes. And I can tell you from experience, it's pretty easy to tweak what you already have. It's pretty easy to incorporate this, but to juggle 12 dimensions at once, it's going to take some effort. When our team started analyzing slime, we brought John in, and we'll introduce him to you later, but to be our content expert. And it was a little bit overwhelming. And when we thought about doing all 12 dimensions at once, how are we going to tweak slime so we really incorporate all of these? We were a little bit overwhelmed, but it wasn't as hard as we thought, because we went through, we filled out the program planning tool, and that's what we're going to do when we come back from our little break to get some food and drink. We're going to work on these as a group, and we're going to take a hard look at the water aquifer activity with this DOS planning tool, looking at those 12 different dimensions, and try to come up with some ways that we can tweak this so it becomes more meaningful, so it becomes a more purposeful, better activity for kids, right? Just like we don't want slime to fall into that activity mania group where they're doing an activity, but who knows what for, why, when, where. We want slime to be so purposeful that kids are coming back and saying, this is so cool, I understand now why we do it, and now I want to try this. We actually did slime last week during spring break. We did our typical slime where all the kids came in the room and it was crazy and there was glue everywhere and everybody was stretching it and their hands were all gooey. Oh my gosh, they were having so much fun. So that's how we always do it. The kids left, that was the end of it. And then we decided to do it with a facilitated group in a day camp. Wow. The questions, the connections, the relevance kids made. Some kids were talking about, of their own accord, no prompting, could we make bricks out of, because you all know what slime is, right? Could we make bricks? This is a 6-year-old boy. Could we make bricks out of slime? And everybody took off on, oh, why couldn't we? We could probably make a house made out of bricks, made out of slime, and it'd be really fun. We can jump around the walls and bounce off the walls. But one little girl said, there are tornadoes in Iowa. I wonder if you made a house out of bricks out of slime, would that withstand a tornado? And somebody else says, well, my cousin lives in Seattle, and they have earthquakes. What would happen if we built a house out of slime? Could it withstand an earthquake? 6-year-old boy. That had never happened in all the time we did slime. So that's my testimonial for you, that this really, really works. And my staff had never heard of this before. We probably had about 5 hours working on it, so not a lot of time, but that's the results we got with only 5 hours. So we're going to take a break.